Hey guys, if anyone's here, my chat is not connected, so I have no idea. Oh, there we go. Hey, Bobby. And this one connect as well. All right. Yeah, so probably again a slower stream today. More time to chat and stuff, but not gonna be playing much. Yeah, I don't get online much anymore. Um, I should be able to be online a lot more nowadays because I'm off for December. So maybe I'll try to get back to streaming daily. Yeah, so this is my StarCraft 2 bot. What I'm working on today is hmm, concept around a little known thing that happens in StarCraft 2. And that is that if you set an SCV to auto repair and you put it inside something, it can repair other things that are inside that. So if you put SCVs, they're all injured inside a command center, they can all repair each other when they're inside the command center. So I'm adding this to my bot. I'm going to try to create a drop harass that involves two SCVs. So the idea is two SCVs, a Cyclone, and a Hellion. And then anytime the Cyclone is inside the medevac with the SCVs, the auto repair will auto repair the Cyclone back to full. And obviously this is the most micro intensive thing in the world, but the most micro intensive thing in the world is where bots really shine. Bots are as dumb as bricks, but man, can they micro. So that's the goal here. So I think, well, I just wrote a bunch of code, so hopefully it doesn't fail too badly. Um, yeah, I updated the Cyclone a little bit. We did this on my previous coding stream, which was a long, long time ago now. So the Cyclone kind of does what you expect when it's low hit points. It hops back into the medevac, it tries to lock on and whatnot. Um, and there's some logic around, whether if it's locked on or not, it might change its decision whether it's going to retreat or jump into the medevac and all sorts of things. But what I'm writing right now is the logic for the SCV, which I feel is it's going to be the most complicated unit actually, because there's lots of things it can do. It can sit in the medevac and just auto repair, but it can also get out of the medevac and start attacking. It can get out of the medevac and start repairing the Cyclone that's on the field. It can get out of the medevac and start repairing the medevac or repairing each other. So yeah, this is what I wrote today. Before, all it basically did was this. It just turned on auto repair and hopped in the medevac and it was done. And yeah, actually I don't have any code to make it for the medevac to pop them out. So all the code I wrote is irrelevant. So as long as there's no errors in it, I think I can display what we had so far. But once I'm going to pop it out, I wrote a bunch of repair code that will hopefully work. Uh, oh, catch rock launcher. There we go. Let's kill all the breakpoints. No. We wrote errors. All right, what's going on? No pointer exception. So why does it even get to this code? Let's just do this for now. And we'll come back to that. So I just spawn in a bunch of roaches in my opponent's base and spawn in SCVs. Is it blowing up again? I didn't really change anything though. Let me see what I changed. Show history. Oh, I do need to enter the medevac. That's true. Okay. Oh, I gotta turn off the scene swapper. I just realized you guys have been stuck on that scene the entire time. How do I do that again? Scene swapper. I'll do it in a second. Yeah. So what we're seeing right now is just the Cyclone micro, which is very basic at the moment, but you got the idea, I guess. So if the Cyclone ever takes damage, which I'm not sure it's going to, because the built-in AI is kind of dumb as bricks in SC2, at least micro-wise. It'll hop into the medevac and get repaired, and there's 2 auto-repairing SCVs inside there. So that is taking a little bit of damage, but I don't think it's ever going to pop back into the medevac because there's not really a threat to it. Okay, where's that scene swapper thing? Properties. So I just... Okay, I don't think it should swap scenes anymore. So now we want to add micro for the SCV, which I wanted to do next, and then we'll mix in the Hellion afterwards. So basically this is just for yeah, when I first add the SCV to the squad, I'll turn on auto repair. And then I have some code for repair. And what that will do is it'll look to see if the SCV is already repairing a target. And if that target is still in a safe position, it'll continue doing it. If there's no repair target, then it'll start looking for repair targets. So it'll check all the members in the squad. So the medevac, the other SCVs, the Cyclone, and the Hellion. It'll find any that aren't full hit points and are in a safe position. It'll prefer to repair the medevac, because when they're outside the medevac, that's the only time they can repair it. Otherwise, they'll just repair whichever one is the closest to the SCV. And gives the repair. So if it's empty, it's going to return false. So and then if there's nothing to do repair-wise, then it's going to enter the medevac. And I'll enter the medevac. Enters the medevac when it's requires repairs when it's less than 45 hit points, or if it's not safe. So if there's an enemy threat nearby, or if there's no enemies nearby. Whenever there's no enemies nearby, I just load up the medevac to move on to somewhere else. So this should actually be priority. Really want to keep the SCVs alive, so anytime there's any sort of threat, get inside the medevac. Otherwise, repair. Otherwise, attack. Yeah. Okay, that should work. So the only thing we need is the medevac itself needs to spit the SCVs out. Because right now they just load into the medevac and they'll never actually do any of this repair stuff because the medevac's not spitting them out. So I think that's next to do. Hey Crossroads, hey Craig, how's it going? So there's a lot of temporary code here in the medevac, I think. Drop cyclone versus enemies. Pick up units that are asking to be picked up. Yeah. Okay, so this will work for the SCV as well. Basically, anytime a unit is trying to enter the medevac will also fly towards that unit to help pick it up quicker. So I kind of need something like this, but for SCVs. Something I'm thinking about, what if there's no enemies nearby, but the medevac needs repairs? We should split this up. So this method specifically loads into the medevac if the if the do spell it flee to medevac. Yeah, so this is if it requires, if the SCV is in danger, so it's not full hit points or it's not safe. And then this method will be specifically if there's no enemies nearby. So we prioritize the SCVs going into the medevac when they're unsafe. Otherwise, we just start repairing whatever's out on the field. Let's make this a little more, make more sense. Is no enemies left, something like that. Otherwise, when there's no enemies left, we'll hop into the medevac. Right, so we kill everything off, the cyclone hops into the medevac, but the medevac still needs repairing, so we repair the medevac, and then when that repair is completely done, only then will the SCV hop into the medevac itself, and then the medevac's full, and it'll move on to the next place. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's go back to the medevac itself. We drop estimates for enemies. Okay, so if the let's get the let's get the SCVs. There's two SCVs, which makes it a little more awkward. There's only ever one cyclone. SCV. Now, hopefully after I fix the syntax, this error will go away. So we're checking to see if the SCV is in the meta, if the SCV is in the medevac. So this is where we want to drop it. And there's enemies nearby. Where's the syntax error? I don't understand. Missing a closing bracket somewhere. To list. Open. All right, because this was an optional that I copied it from. Second one was an optional. Okay, so SCVs, this would just be scv.unit. But there's still something not... I messed up something here. Anyways, let's continue. Okay, so for each SCV, we're going to check to see if it's in the medevac. Line 78. So that's closing that. This is closing, supposed to close this. Oh, yeah, we're missing a curly brace. That closes that. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Aha. I feel better now. Okay, so if the SCV is in the medevac, so this is where we want to decide whether to drop it out. There's enemy targets nearby. We'll have to make a decision when my SCV is full hit points or not. Because otherwise, say the SCV is 30 hit points, then it's going to try to jump into the medevac, and then as soon as it's in the medevac, it's going to spit it out. And then the very next game frame, it's going to jump into the medevac again. So I'm going to need some sort of calculation to try to estimate if the things inside the medevac have repaired to full or not. But we'll do that in the future. This position is safe. It's probably something I want to do as well. What are considered enemy targets? Anything. Okay. Including structures. How do I want to do this? So definitely full hit points. I only want to spit out the SCV though, like even if there's nothing to repair, I wouldn't mind spitting them out just to attack a hatchery, or you may as well just get them involved in the fight. Why not? It's a bot, so it can do everything. As long as they don't die. Like right now, it's just spitting them out anytime an enemy is nearby. I guess we'll maybe try to do this calculation if full hit points. Oy. So, where would I even write this? I guess under the medevac is fine. Hmm. So for this someone's gonna get weird. So I'll have to know when I picked up the units. And then calculate repair rates. Whatever we call it, can't call it units. Oh, we could. Something less confusing. Whatever. HP unit. Get last seen game loop. Frame entered medevac. And then there's like a weird thing where like the repair rate is repair rate equals like full HP repair in 1/4 of the unit's build time. That's how it works out. So if a unit has 400 hit points and it takes a minute to build, then that means your repair rate is 400 hit points every 15 seconds, like 1/4 of a minute. So we'll need to know the max health. So dot unit dot get max, get health max. For the primitive. We'll need to know the build time. Which isn't stored in the unit class itself. Where the heck does that come from? Get unit type data. Get unit type data. I've done this somewhere else in the past. It's been a long time. So you put in the unit type, okay. Oy, 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 oy. And then we'll just kind of assume all the SCVs will be repairing whatever unit it is. So if we're talking about an SCV, there's only one other SCV repairing it. But if we're talking about any other unit, then there's two SCVs repairing it. Right, so then the num frames repairing time dot now frames minus that. Just for safety, that's minus subtract 2 more frames as well. Maybe 4 more. 8 more frames, okay. Because obviously this is, you know, the repair is not a constant rate. Repair just still happens in pulses. So we'll just make sure this works out. So we got the number of frames repairing. Well, number of frames, maybe inside medevac will be clearer. The max health of the unit, the build time of the unit, and the number of SCVs repairing. I think we have all the information now to calculate, to guess what the current hit points of it is. Well, we should also get the current hit points, the last seen hit points. So it would be how do I math this? the max health divided, let's see. Build time is in frames. So probably first thing we do is figure out how much it heals per frame and go from there. It's max health divided by build time frames, and then it's repairs 4 times faster than that. So that's much it heals per frame. Oh, and then times number of SCVs. So that is how much it repairs per frame. And then we multiply that by num frames inside medevac. To my old bed mass here. This is fine, I don't need the bracket here. It's max health divided by build frames. That's health points per build frame. Multiply it by 4, that's the repair rates per frame. Multiply number of SCVs, that's repair rates in total. Multiply by the number of frames it's been inside the medevac. That's how much is total repaired so far. And then we add it to the current hit points. Which I have somewhere, right? Last seen HP. And if that is greater than max health, then it's fully repaired. Hopefully this works so I never have to look at this method again. This calculation is never going to be accurate, but we can, depending on how much processing time I want to put into it, I can make it better and better. I think this is good enough. Okay. Threat to ground plus buffer. SCV dot. Enemy nearby. SCV full HP. And safe to drop. Okay, I guess we can give this a try now. So this is specific to the Cyclone, and then for the SCV, we get all the SCVs in the squad. For each of them, we check to see if they're in the medevac. And if there's enemy targets nearby, the SCV is at full hit points. And it's safe. It's basically all this means. It's extra safe, we'll say. Then we unload the SCV. Pick up any units that are asking to be picked up. So we find any squad unit that has current order targeting the medevac. Find the closest one and pick up that unit. Okay. Looks okay. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, I can probably simplify that as full HP method. I was mostly writing it from so my own brain could understand it, because it's a little mathy. It's like you can repair the maximum amount of hit points in 1/4 of the time that the unit builds, which is a weird way of calculating a repair rate. But that's why you can repair, like, my 10 SCVs can't keep a tank alive, but 1 SCV can keep a depot alive. Because depots have more hit points and they build faster than siege tanks. So doesn't look like it's ever spitting out the SCVs. It could be because of the buffer range I have and the roaches and stuff, whatnot, but like right now, there's really no threats nearby. I guess the drones count as a threat. Let's see what's going on here. The SCVs are being populated. So let's see what's happening when, it's just probably that method I wrote. So it's certainly screwed up. That full HP one. Okay, so there is something nearby. So let's look in here and go down to this line. Sorry, the font's probably too small for you guys, but let's, at last seen, it was at 45 hit points. That's correct. Number pairing SCV should be 1. Yep. Number of frames inside the medevac, 812, which is like 30 seconds or something. That sounds right. So the repair rate is 0.2 HP per build frame, which is like 4 hit points a second. That sounds correct. And with all the time it's been in the medevac, the potential to repair 500 hit points, which sounds about right. And then you add that to the last seen hit points. $582, which is definitely greater than max health, right? 45, so it returns true. Oh, this should be a not. When it's not in danger. Okay. It only wanted to drop the SCV in a dangerous position. I did a little bit backwards. But at least we know that method works. The full HP one. Let's drop the breakpoints. So right now the SCVs want to stay as far away from the danger as possible. Looks like the SCV is kind of getting conflicting commands. There we go. So we haven't given it any information to attack, which I think is probably pretty key. So I can see the drone. Okay, let's make a couple changes here. Let's get rid of that buffer. So it's a little more willing to drop out. And then what does it actually happen? Let's go that SCV code again. So when it's in danger or needs repairs, it goes into the medevac. And there's repair micro. And then there's no enemies left. Otherwise, it goes into my basic micro that applies to every unit. Hmm. I think if there's an easy way to injure my own medevac at the start. See if the repair works. Um, see if everything comes in here. And let me try to injure my own medevac. What if I get dropped? What if I create an enemy widow mine? A burrowed widow mine, right? That's the same place I create my medevac. Okay, that worked out. So now we have an injured medevac. So when the SCVs pop out, will they start repairing the medevac or not? Or is my code just an absolute mess? Because there might be some conflicting commands. Maybe something else is trying to mine with those SCVs at the same time. Well, that SCV got wrecked. Kinda. Okay, just the buffer there too. Just the built-in Blizzard AI is just what I'm testing against right now. There is a ladder that runs 24/7, whereas this bots playing other bots playing other bots. There's even a tournament going on right now. But at the moment, I'm just trying to build this idea of a drop that includes a Cyclone, a Hellion, and 2 SCVs for repair. I don't mind that it's hesitant to drop the SCVs. For the most part, I just want the SCVs auto-repairing inside the medevac. So every time I pick up the Cyclone's getting repaired. And SCVs are very vulnerable to death. Does it ever drop out both SCVs though? There's both. So when the Cyclone's picked up, it'll get auto-repaired, but also the SCVs will try to auto-repair. We'll try to repair the Cyclone as well when it can. It does look like my SCVs are being double controlled though. It looks like some other code is making it because they wiggle so much. So why are they being picked up right now? And there's some exceptions being thrown, it looks like. Uh, yeah, it looks like this SCV is being grabbed to build a structure or something. I don't know. Mm. Thought I had all this double unit micro thing fixed a long while ago. That's probably just this test code that's causing it. So when I create these SCVs, where does this happen even? It's in the medevac, it's in the squad. I feel like I had some sort of squad object, didn't I? Shit, I don't know Windows hotkeys anymore for IntelliJ. I've been working on Mac too long. Squad. Squads? No. Reaper draw process probably here. Yeah, this is just a stub. So where am I getting these SCVs from? When did they get added to this squad? That's the code I need to find. Here, add new units? No. Yeah, I need to ignore it. I don't think I've ever had SCVs as part of an army before, so that could be what's lacking in my code base. Just the assumption that SCVs are always for mining and building and repairing. So when I add that, I do add it to the ignore units list. So why is it still getting picked up? Okay, temporary for testing. Let's just turn off the mining. Uh, Hopefully that doesn't break anything if I turn those off. The bot doesn't actually need to use the camera. It can control things on multiple screens at once. Yeah, this is super busted, whatever I just did. Those to the queue. Where does it get the SCV from? Yeah, it calls this method. Let's put a breakpoint in here so you can figure out what's going on. Hmm. This is only looking at mining SCVs, right? Maybe there is no interaction between the SCVs there and the squad, and the SCVs are being used to build structures and mine and stuff. Because it's specifically looking in the base list and finding the SCVs there. Like base.release SCV, what does that do? Yeah, it checks the mineral patches and the gases. So the only thing I can think of is if it somehow pops up as an idle SCV. Get idle SCVs. So this searches every SCV. Anything that doesn't have an order. No, but yeah, that checks to make sure it's not on the ignored list. And these are in the ignored. Yeah, I don't know. Let's continue. Okay, so the SCV is getting attack commands. I say it's this will only attack if there's something in melee range. It's probably going to end up detouring or... Hmm. I mean, my normal attacking algorithm would probably favor going after like army units. But I guess with the SCVs, I want them specifically to go after stuff that doesn't fight back. So like attack a hatchery or a extractor or something. Right now they should be favoring repairing that let me just break point it for a second. Where is that SCV? Let's see if it's actually getting commands to repair that cyclone. Yeah, it is getting the cyclone as a target. I think just whenever it gets close to the cyclone and sees the drone and gets afraid of the drone. And hops back into the medevac. The other thing is I have my cyclone set to get as close to the enemy target as possible while still being safe. So it probably gets too close to the drones. Because that's a nice way for the cyclone to like still maintain its lock-on distance if there is threats, but if say like a zealot is running away, the cyclone will keep up to it. Or say something faster. Say like a zergling is running away. It won't try to stay at max range because then the zergling will break that lock almost immediately. It'll instead try to stay as close as possible. Okay, so after I kill all the drones, will the SCV start attacking a hatchery or something? I wish this text would disappear. Medevac's back to full, so that worked. Oh, there's a repair there. I saw it repairing the cyclone out in the field. Okay, so now what's going on? Midair. So why is it always hopping back into the medevac? It thinks it's unsafe. Do flee medevac. If you're less than 45. Because it's unsafe, or is it because it thinks it needs a repair? Requires repairs. What? Why would this be true? Because it's hard-coded to a cyclone. It's hit points. This is in the base class. This is supposed to be for everything. Oh, no. This is just nowhere else. It's using this value as being sent in. It says 45. I don't know why. Let's make this more obvious that it's just a default value. It's because floats are weird. It's at 45. So 45 is less than or equal to. Oh. I'm basically, okay, that's my own fault. I'm basically saying anytime the SCV is 45 hit points or lower, then it needs repairs. But it's always going to be 45 hit points or lower. So let's go 44. What happened? What happened? I don't understand. SCVs don't want to load. If it's less than that, then it requires repairs, okay. Or if it's not safe. So it should skip this line. Do repair micro. Yeah, so honestly, yeah, the way I intended this to work is they should be repairing the medevac to full, which they did, and then they should hop into the medevac and move on. Okay, they still think they're repairing. Why? There's a repair target. Which is The cyclone. The cyclone's damaged. Okay, the SCVs won't get into the medevac because they need to repair the cyclone. Because the cyclone's damaged, but they can't repair the cyclone because the cyclone's inside the medevac. All right. Um, okay. We need our filter now. Squatty. Is passenger. Well, I don't even care about the passenger really. I just care that it's visible right now. Um, I feel like I might have a method for this already somewhere. Maybe not. Now what's happening? Uh, let's see what's going on with this cyclone here. Cyclone.unit, cyclone.last. The scene game loop is 104. And right now it's 1024, so it shouldn't, this should not pass. Oh yeah, I do use quite a bit of AI at work actually. It's a little frustrating because it never says I don't know. So it'll confidently give you wrong answers to questions you ask all the time. And the code it writes is, I would say the code it writes is terrible, but it's still better than the average code at the company I work for, I would say. So, like, it looks like this. I'll show you. Unfortunately, I started building this bot when I was learning to code, so most of it is ugly, but yeah, AI just inlines everything. Um, why is that passing? Last seen gain loop. Oh, wait. What is this unit? I thought it was a cyclone. Is it not the cyclone? It's the medevac. Yeah, why is it not repairing the medevac? Oh, I have no gas. Okay, let's just let it run. Needs to mine the gas to repair it. Now, hopefully, when it's done repairing it, it will hop in now. There it goes. Okay. That's too quick to assume my code sucked. Now I forgot what I was even trying to do with all this. I think we were trying to see if the SCVs would attack. That SCV is definitely getting multiple commands. It's getting a movement command to the bottom right of the map. That makes sense. Another movement command to the bottom right. And moving to a target. What is that target? The medevac? Or is it trying to go into a gas geyser or something weird? That's tag get units. No, it's the medevac. So it's just moving forward and then going medevac, moving forward, going the medevac. But why would it want to be going in the medevac? I guess because there's no enemies within 15 range. But whether it's moving towards the enemy base or moving towards the medevac, either way, it shouldn't be wiggling way back here. None of those explain why it's... Oh shit, I fucked up. Hit the wrong button. Still feels like it's getting conflicting commands from somewhere else. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's a way to like artificially give myself gas. There's a way to make it so everything is free, but then my bot's just gonna go crazy and expand over the entire map, and let's not see that. All right, don't drop off an SCV to its death this time. Yeah. Okay. I guess I should stop spawning roaches and hydras for this guy if I want to see what the SCVs are gonna do when there's nothing left. I feel like they think the target base is maybe they're trying to attack, but they're attacking like my main base instead of the enemy main base. I think that's what it is. Let's go into there. All right, what unit is this? This is the SCV. And it's moving to target position. Okay, this is targeting inside the enemy base. X coordinate 126, Y coordinate 39. 00 is in the bottom left. Yeah, it's still the enemy base. X31, Y141. That's my base. Why is it going there? Oh, this doesn't get called every frame. It's overriding. This method does squat. So I need to call that method every frame then. If it ever reaches here. And same for the cyclone. All right, let's try again. Yeah, I think it was just doing whatever the default stuff was for SCVs, which is probably go back home. You know, if you're out in the middle of the map, that's likely where you want to be. F9. Okay, I think we know that SCVs can repair the medevac, so we can get rid of that Widow Mine blast at the start of every game. That way we don't have to wait for this gas geyser every time. Where am I spawning that thing? All right, off we go. So they're getting the repair commands, they're getting the attack commands, but any other time they weren't getting that, they're just trying to run back home. And they're getting the commands to enter the medevac as well. Yeah, now they're looking a little bit smarter. Even the Cyclone's looking a little bit smarter. Like, oh, 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 that wasn't good. We got to put the buffer, I think, back on. Now we realize why the SCVs were being dumb. Oh, did it just add another SCV to the group? I didn't know I did that code.
Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Okay. Medevac. Small tweaks, but we're slowly getting there. Let's put that buffer back. And we'll need that in the SCV as well. Brain just turned off for a second there. Who was that? Oh, that's a name. Thanks, Bit Havoc, for the tier 1, 6 months. Wasn't in here? I need the buffer when I drop it off. I need the buffer for... Right. The other buffer was because of that. So I'm going to survival, it'll have the buffer. Okay. The other thing is, like, when they're unsafe, they're probably trying... No, when they're unsafe, they try to go in the medevac. I'm just wondering why they get so dumb. Like, yeah. Oh, because the medevac flew to the low ground. It dropped off the SCVs in the high ground, it flew to the low ground, and then the SCVs tried to run to the medevac, so they run around the corner. I guess I could always throw away the whole idea of the SCVs attacking as well. Only pull them out of the medevac when the medevac needs repairs. Because honestly, like, how much does two SCVs attacking help? They'll probably be even too afraid to attack a worker, so it's most likely the two SCVs will just be attacking like a hatchery if they're attacking anything. Which feels pretty worthless in comparison to the DPS I'll be getting out of the Cyclone and the Hellion. Alright, there's logic error too. There's nothing to tell the SCVs, hey, there's something inside the medevac that needs repairing, so get inside the damn medevac. Okay, let's simplify this. Yeah, let's simplify this. So if... Yeah, I do kind of like having the SCVs out to repair the Cyclone though, don't I? If the Cyclone is just kind of doing its thing unharassed, it'd be nice to have the SCVs out of the medevac and repairing the Cyclone. Because otherwise the Cyclone only gets repaired when it's inside the medevac. Yeah, so this will still work. Have the medevac when it's unsafe. Otherwise, do all the repair stuff you're supposed to do. Otherwise, just get in the medevac. So, literally none of this other stuff. Just get in the damn medevac. So you won't even need this override anymore. I forgot the override annotation. I think it still works though without the annotation. And then same thing for spinning it out of the medevac. We only want to drop SCVs if there's repair targets. So what am I doing right now? Enemies nearby, if SCVs are full HP, and if it's safe to drop. Yeah, so none of this crap. I just want to know, basically this. Is there any unit in the squad that's not full hit points and is safe? Yeah. So if the medevac needs repair, or if the cyclone's out fighting and it needs a repair, then the SCVs pop out. And anytime there's nothing on the field that needs a repair, they just hop back into the medevac. If in the future I actually want to start fighting with the SCVs as well, I guess I can add that in, but I think this is good enough for now. Trying to think what to do next. The other thing I can do is whenever I'm locked on to something, try to get the medevac as close to that target as possible. I'm not sure if I already have that or not. I think the medevac's just staying as close to the enemy, closest enemy as possible, but I should try to stay as close to the lock-on target as possible. Because that way the medevac can grant vision to the cyclone when it's locked on. I wish this cyclone would take some damage. I think it took damage. So that, yeah, now the SVs come out. Nice. Okay, this is working. And they'll repair that cyclone as best they can, and then when it's full, they'll hop back in. One day I'm going to have these things swarming all over the map. These little squads. That's the play. I really want to make them particularly focus static defense as well. Have that cyclone take out like the missile turrets and the cannons and stuff like that. Because then my Banshee harass will become a million times better as well. I've seen humans play against my bot, and the Banshee harass pulls them to pieces. Unless they start getting static defense and just kind of like turtling a bit, and then my bot loses all its effectiveness. I really want that cyclone to get back to full health. So the SVs pull out, repair back to full, and hop back into the medevac. There we go. So it took them like 6 years to repair that cyclone because they're afraid of drones. Okay, so the other thing is, now that I'm only repairing, I don't need that added buffer anymore either, which is nice. So let's go undo that again. I keep swapping it back and forth. So this becomes... for dropping, it's already gone. For the SCV itself, let's put this back to DPS so it doesn't have the buffer. My bot is pretty dumb when it comes to terrain stuff. So hopefully the high ground's not an issue. That's why I was thinking, like, we're seeing it here where I lose a lock sometimes. by locking on something on the high ground and then driving down the ramp. That's why I think keeping my medevac as close to the lock target as possible would be helpful. But yeah, you can see how sometimes, especially like when my cyclone tries to retreat back home, and then he's up the ramp, so he runs towards the ramp and ends up getting closer to the enemy targets. Yes, the cyclone's actually damaged right now. But when they hop back into the medevac, it probably got repaired to full. Yeah, so now the SCVs aren't popping out anymore. I kind of want the cyclone to take damage. Come on, Jones, get some hits on it. It's definitely trying to use the SCV for something, though. Null pointer exception. Could be completely unrelated. But the fact that's throwing an error on an SCV. Whatever it is, it seems to solve its own issue. Put a breakpoint there, see if it's actually involving the Cyclone SCVs or not, or if it's just a completely unrelated bug. Did your job coding? Yes. But at the time I wrote this, my job was not coding. So I do cringe when I look at this bot. See, what happens is when I go to work on my bot, I look at it and I just want to refactor everything. And I'm like, that's going to take too long. So I end up doing nothing at all. So I'm trying to just accept the fact that this bot is a mess and it's going to stay a mess. And I got to deal with it. It's actually, it's like, kind of like coding at work. There's so much old code bases I have to work on. But at least with that, I can blame other people. With this, I can only blame myself with the code being terrible. But it did help me land that job, actually. This little project. Well, I don't know if it helped or not, but it was mentioned and talked about in the interview. Unfortunately, I got hired long before the AI craze started. So mentioning a bot would probably just get them like, oh, you must be an AI expert, even though there's nothing machine learning about this. Okay, so the cyclone is injured. That's interesting. So if the SCVs are trying to get into the medevac, but the medevac is in range of an enemy, the medevac prefers to fly away. So the SCVs need to be medevaced out, but there's a queen that I'll have to take damage from to get close to the medevac. Yeah, I probably want to have some logic around that. Like sometimes I'll want to dive in with the medevac and pick it up. Other times I won't. And then I do also have the boost available, which I'm not using at all right now. That bug's not showing up again, whatever it was. It looks like the bug only exists for one frame, so whatever happened, it probably fixed itself. Maybe it was like grabbing an SCV to build something, but then when it gave the build command, the SCV disappeared inside a refinery. So what didn't exist to give the command to? Maybe something along those lines. Yeah, everything's full health, so the SCVs are back in the medevac. I like that. So I think the Cyclone's more or less like there's going to be a future tweaking, obviously, but I think the Cyclone's in a good enough state that I can call it done-ish, and the SCVs are in a good enough state I can call it done-ish. Now I do want. Hmm. So Cyclone drop. What do I want now? I want logic to hot pickup threatening area with medevac. Cyclones to for targeting. Oh, just autocorrect in Notepad? Did I see that right? I swear it autocorrected for me. Cyclones to prefer targeting static air defense. Hellions in general I need to add, but obviously I want Hellions. Targeting light units. Namely wings, drones, stuff like that. What else I need? I need something to like end the harass. Something to abandon the harassment, like if okay, hello banshees. Out of nowhere. Like if the Cyclone dies, I don't want to continue the harass with just the medevac and a couple SCVs or something. I do want to catch that air though. Look at this running in the background again, just to see if I can find that scenario one more time. It's probably an SCV entering a refinery, I would guess. I don't think it's related to the SCVs in this drop. Oh, I know what I want as well. I want keep medevac near lock on target for vision. All right, let's look at that one first. So that one should be simple enough, right? So this is all about dropping units, picking up units. Otherwise, yeah, just like these harasses are like set to target bases. So otherwise, it's just going to try to get as close to the base as possible. Any unit is dropped, get as close to that unit as possible. Okay, so it tries to. That's smart, I guess. If units drop, stay close by so you can pick it up easily. But I think before that, we want to give vision or lock on. So let's look at. Also, this is just finding any dropped unit. Let's keep it close to a specific dropped unit. Because I'm trying to think ahead when there's Hellion and a Cyclone and SCVs out. Uh, priority unit. Ooh, no. I found that bug. Um, what's a way to prioritize the units? We can sort them by max health. That way I'll prefer to stay as close to the Cyclone as possible. There's another factor I wanted to consider. I can't even remember anymore. So if anyone's trying to enter the medevac, the medevac will fly towards that unit. If no one's trying to enter the medevac, they'll just prefer the cyclone. Stays close to the cyclone. If the cyclone's not out, it stays close to the Hellion. If that's not out, it stays close to the SCVs. Oh, whether the unit's safe or not. Mm. Well, if it's not safe, it's probably trying to get in the medevac, so I don't think I need to worry about that, actually. List of one. Okay, so if cyclones any match is locked on, then we set the target position to that's just a little different. Ah. I mean, there's always going to be one cyclone. No, there could be zero. Okay, but within here, there's always going to be at least one cyclone. So just get zero, make it easier. And then we lock target. There we go. Okay, so anytime a cyclone is locked on to something, this medevac will get as close as it can to that lock target, you know, without flying into danger. And that'll work out really well because the medevac is pretty good at giving vision for lock-ons. So that's done. Another thing I want to do is medevac boosting. When do I want to do that? Probably during hot pickups or if my medevac's under threat of death. Basic unit micro. But I have a... Yeah, I think I need a medevac object. Medevac class. Maybe I don't. Is there any code I want from here to carry over though? Can heal, can boost. Cast boost. Yeah, I think I want a medevac. Micro objects and base, and then have this medevac exchange. Extend medevac. No, whoops. Have this extend medevac. And have this extend medevac. Take some of these methods, make them protected, and move them over to the superclass. I think just these. Okay, I have access to the boost method. So when do I want to boost with this guy? Let's see, use repair, set target position. How does it work for this medevac? It's one that just goes around and heals stuff for me. Phoenix would be bit of an issue for this. But wouldn't it? Boost out of danger. So basically, if I can get 2-shot, I use boost. Let's put that in the super glass. Boost from danger. So you can boost on the same frame you give a command. That's interesting. So I don't even need really an if statement here. So it would just be else. And this wouldn't have to return anything. Okay, and now I can use this on my actual medevac. So can do it kind of anywhere, right? So the other thing would be hot pickups. So I need the logic to go into danger to do a hot pickup rather than doing whatever it takes to keep the medevac alive. And then I probably want to boost into danger as well. Because we saw that where the queen was keeping my medevac away, then the SCVs couldn't get inside the medevac. Or no, wait, that will work. I guess those SCVs weren't even asking to be picked up. Because this is where the dodging the enemy code happens, and this happens beforehand. So if there's ever an enemy there's ever one of my units trying to get picked up, then I just give a right click on that
Target
unit.
acquired.
So one thing I could do, it's not the best, but I could check. Does if say, can I put a unit in there? No, only a position. So if the position where the unit is not safe to the medevac, so if there's a Zergling fighting, say there's a roach forcing the cyclone to want to go back into the medevac, then I'll just slowly go pick it up. But if there's a Hydra forcing it, then I'll do a speed boost because then the Hydra's dangerous to the medevac as well. This is probably going to boost too often, but that's okay. Alright, so if a unit wants to be picked up and the medevac, should probably do that first, just in case there's a conflict. Yeah. And the place it wants to get picked up from is not safe for the medevac, then I'm going to do a speed boost on the medevac. Okay. So the hot pickup was already there. We got a couple scenarios for medevac boosting now. We don't have Hellions involved with this at all yet. Yeah, no LLM. I actually haven't even looked into what LLM coding stuff is free. I got like everything at work, but I haven't even looked into it for my recreational coding. I'm sure you can use like ChatGPT or something. So I got a breakpoint for if it ever boosts. Actually, instead of here, let's put it right in that method. So if it boosts for either reason, we can see why. Um, let's give him some stalkers. I need to make this more dangerous for my cyclone. It's a slightly more dangerous area in it. Stalker's a little more mobile than a Hydralisk. Though maybe not on creep. Yeah, let's give him a Viking. Maybe just one. Okay. That's an awkward position. What is happening here? So I can see why the medevac doesn't want to go forward. So the medevac sees the Viking, backs up, loses vision of what's on the high ground. As soon as it loses vision, there's no enemies there, so it picks up the cyclone. And then it repeats the whole process over and over again. uh, maybe let's go with the Phoenix instead. Void Ray? Let's go with the Void Ray instead. Give him 2 Void Rays. Never boosted there, which is interesting. Yeah, I can see the medevac trying to stay as close as it can to the lock target now, which is nice. CV's popping out to repair the cyclone. I like that too. Yeah, this is going to be solid, I'm pretty sure. It's never going to look like this against a real bot because their units are as smart as my units are, but it might be nice to use against humans. I could see this being super annoying if this is going on at like 3 other bases at the same time. It did get the medevac ended up on the other side of the lock target there. I could see that becoming an issue where the medevac and the cyclone got separated. So I think I need to change that position. Instead of as close to the lock target as possible, maybe like somewhere between the cyclone and the lock target. When it locks onto that overlord, it'll be interesting to see where the medevac moves. Oh, that's funny. It's trying to drop the cyclone right now and it can't. Because it's on... Either because it's... No, you should be able to drop the cyclone, right? At that position? Is it giving the drop command? Is it unwilling to drop or is it... Drop cyclone. It is giving the drop command. Okay, so since there's no droppable area nearby, it's kind of messed up. That's funny. I thought if I dropped a cyclone right now, if I did it manually, I thought it would like pop out over here or pop out over here. Like I know you can't drop when you're like over dead space, but I thought you could drop on top of a structure and it would just shift it to the side. But maybe this structure is so fat, and since this bot is literally dead center, because I'm sure that's where I gave the destination to. I can't do it. It's definitely giving the drop command, right? Actually, I can even look at the medevac. Unit dot get orders. What's in here? Nothing. Oh, I don't have a return here. That order might be getting overwritten with something else. Yeah, if you unload, that's all you can do for this game frame. Might have been the cause. Yeah, okay, that fixed it. Okay, what next? Any other micro stuff we want? Some sort of target preferencing for static defense would be nice, though. Yeah. Banshee's only here to kill creep tumors with a Raven on in tow, but built-in AI doesn't place creep tumors, so it's not doing a whole lot of a lot of work. Basically, what these two guys just do is they just follow the edge of the creep from like one side of the map to the other, back and forth all game long, killing off creep tumors, which is actually really important because bots spread creep like insanely fast. All right, what can we do for targeting? Let's see how that code works. It's probably just using my generic Cyclone code. But I want to give it some preference to going after, especially air targeting stuff, cannons, spores, and missile turrets. Because they are what will unlock my Banshee Harass to be super annoying if those things disappear. Yeah, I have almost no Cyclone code. Do nothing if you're inside the medevac. Enter medevac when you're low hit points. No enemies left. Or within a 2-shot of death. Actually, one thing we're probably missing, when it's low health, we put inside the medevac, but then the medevac just spits it back out again immediately. Yeah, right now we always drop out the Cyclone whenever enemies are near. So let's, we do have that is full health method somewhere. Where's that crazy method I wrote for the SCVs? Right here, is full HP. Let's chain this up a bit. We do our percentage. No, let's just do it by hit points. Yeah, let's do by percentage. Okay. So this is the estimated repaired HP. And say I want it above 70%. So if that's a 70, take the max health and I just multiply by that, right? So this is 100, then I would multiply 100 divided by 100. Yeah. So this will still work. This is greater than or equal to, yeah. Yep. Okay, this works. So I still this full HP method, which will still work as well, although I'm not using it anyways. So we drop out the cyclone. From the medevac, where's that code? The cyclone's in the medevac. And the hit points of the cyclone are greater than, say, 70%. I'll hop in the medevac if I'm below 100. What is the health of a cyclone anyways? $120. So this really prefers to be in the medevac all the time. So maybe I don't drop it out unless it's a full HP. I'm hopping in when it's almost low full HP. Definitely a value I'll probably have to tweak. Come on, Saugers, get some shots on it. There we go. Oh, it's going to boost here. Why is it going to boost? Because it needs to pick up this SCV, but it's also flying through danger to pick up the SCV. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Where's it going? This I don't understand. It boosted back home. Why'd it go all the way home? Do boost from danger. Gas boost. Boost has no target. It's just turning the ability on. Hmm. So something must have happened in here. No idea. No idea why that flew home. Now something else weird is happening. Any errors? Nope. What the heck? It's trying to unload the SCV and it can't. Don't get it. I mean, I haven't put much work into adding or removing units from this squad, so maybe because one SCV died. Something is messing up here. So it's trying to unload an SCV with the tag that ends in 393. Yeah, it's trying to unload the SCV that's dead. Not sure how it got in that state, but that's okay. That's part of the code I haven't really gotten to. Let's see how much they take. Let's add a Thor. Yeah, Thor would be nice. Thor drop's definitely something you can do. There was a bot that did hot pickups of Thors, the medevacs. So you'd have like Thors on the front line fighting, and when they got really low, a medevac would like pick it up and boost back home, and then get it repaired and bring it back to the fight. This whole repairing SCV idea wouldn't work though, because Thor takes up the entire medevac. Oh, there's that exception from a long time ago. Uh, I think it might be trying to build something with an SCV that's in my medevac. Passenger index. Nah, I'm not gonna do this. Let's copy this value. Go to the medevac. Ends in 225. Not that SCV. Yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. So my bot is trying to build a structure with an SCV that's inside the medevac. Okay. Let's add that to to-do list. Purchase structure is trying to use my squad SCVs. What was it even trying to build? Probably is the barracks, right? No, 400. It was the command center. So it would have fallen into here. Where's the log? So either when this object is instantiated, it's setting the SCV, or it's more likely it's getting the SCV, setting the SCV now when it goes to build it. Remember, there's a lot to this method. There's a lot of scenarios. Wouldn't it be any of these? Find the closest gas. I guess the other thing is maybe maybe these squad SCVs are assigned to mining at a base. And then that's why they're getting grabbed from a mining base to build something. Yeah, there's a few places to look. Oh well. Whatever. I mean, at some point it'll break out of it because the air doesn't replicate in every other frame. It probably cancels the structure, then I guess we can see what happens right now. Yeah, so I just found another SCV to build it with on the next game frame. Not the end of the world unless my SCVs are being told to mine, in which case, oh, here it is again. Trying to build a barracks. Again, using one of those SCVs. You know what? I don't even think it's going to be an issue. I think it's because I spawned those SCVs on the very first game frame. In the very first game frame, I do like code to split my SCVs to all the different mineral patches, and I think it's getting caught in there. It's probably getting initially set to my main base at the start of the game. And obviously I'm not going to be cyclone dropping on the very first frame of the game normally, so I don't think it's a problem. So yeah, we can get rid of this. I think it's a bug just because of the way I'm testing it. Hmm. I don't know why it's flying home. Oh, here's another thing too. I never thought it like the medevacs, rather than having the SCVs jump inside the medevac whenever they take damage, like the medevac can actually heal the SCVs. And then the Hellion can turn into a Hellbat as well. Get healed that way. Yeah, there's a lot of interactions here. I think I'm gonna call it here though. I knew this getting this thing working would be like a major project. But we made some progress. I think the SCVs are looking pretty solid. Medevac's looking great. Plugging it into my existing bot, obviously I think there's going to be some issues with that. Whenever the SCV takes damage, it wants to go inside the medevac.
Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form
But if the
from
SCV's
off my
damage
door.
ends safe, then it should probably stay outside the medevac and just have the medevac heal it.
Nevermore.
I don't know, I'll have to think it through. Anyways, we'll call it the end of the stream here. Next stream will be... oh, we got Scene Swapper kicked in again on me. Next stream will be actually playing StarCraft 2, because I kind of miss playing the game. Thanks everyone for tuning in though.